Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, they give me this after lunch session. So, okay, I'll be doing a bit of a technical talk today, so to keep everybody awake a little bit. We are going to talk about personalization and product recommendation. So, personalization involves how to segment your customers. Product recommendations basically look at what items that your customers have bought. Okay, how many of you are e-commerce merchants that you run your own store? Means not your own one, your own website. No, are you on Lazada? No, just your own. How many of you are Lazada merchants or Shopees or 11 Streets? Quite a few. The rest? Okay. So what happened is that you must have the experience, right? I think the earlier speakers has mentioned also. You browse an item, all right? You go to let's say you search for a pair of shoes, or you try to purchase a cups from. You purchase a pot, okay? You purchase a pot from Lazada. So what is going to happen? They won't ask you to buy a stirrer or anything else, right? If you buy a cup from Lazada, they always ask you to buy more cups. Yeah? So that's the problems that we're trying to solve here, and I'm going to teach you some of the techniques that you can personalize that sort of product recommendation. A bit of quick intro about myself. My background is data scientist, so I do a lot of data science. I train data scientists for companies like FusionX, Intel, HP, OCBC. And I'm also the state advisor of smart cities, so for BDA, Big Data Initiatives for Johor State and also Selangor State. Microsoft Excel expert, world champion, so I do a lot of Excel stuff. So I'll give you some of the examples in Excel as well. And previously I was from Microsoft E-Research Centers, and also I'm founding director of Magic Academy. So most of the programs that you've seen coming out from Magic, so all the technical programs, all the business boot camps and stuff, all came out from me. So I'm the very first batch of hires from Magic. Now, customer segmentation. Customer segmentation is the practice of dividing your customers base into a group of different people so that they are similar in specific ways relevant to their spending habits. So you understand, how many of you actually have already done customer profiling or segmentation? Have you ever thought of wanting to do so? Like, you ever tried to understand why a certain areas or why a certain group of people behave certainly? So let's say there are some people, they always buy expensive items. Have you tried to target them to figure out who are they so that you can sell them more? Ever thought of it? No. Tak pernah. Why? Come on, they spend a lot of money on your website, then you just happily counting money and then you're not doing anything with them. Of course, the only thing that I want them to do is to spend more money on my site, right? Okay, so that's something that you should do. What I'm going to teach you here is what we call the RFM matrix, okay? RFM matrix, as the name sounds fancy because I have to make it sound chunky a little bit, but it actually stands for recency, frequency, and monetary value. You don't have to take the photos. You want to take the photo, can take it with me. Don't take when I'm standing here. I'll give you the links to download the slides later, so no problem. So focus on making notes, and I'll have a bit of question and answer time. Okay? No, just kidding. You want to take lah, yeah. So RFM stands for recency, frequency, and also monetary value. Frequency and monetary value affects your customers' lifetime value. It affects a lot on your LTV, and recency affects their retention. So basically, in simple terms, is that you measure how often they come back to your website to purchase. Some of them, they come back very often, yeah, but they don't purchase. The frequency is very low. Some of them, they spend very little money, so the monetary value is not that high. Give you an example in telcos, right? Telcos, they like customers that buy a lot of data, but they hardly use. Yeah, so you can purchase, you usually purchase data in the blocks of megabytes or gigabytes, right? You subscribe for 1 gig, but they only pay by kilobytes. So let's say you bought 1 gig, and then you only use about 100 meg, the rest of the money, they will earn it. Yeah, that's how it works. So as an e-commerce merchant, you should be also taking note of that too. Okay. Now, RFM metrics, we measure 3 things. In the recency, we want to measure the freshness of the customer activities, such as their last purchase or their last visit. So when was the last time they placed their order? And then when was the last engaged product? what's the product that they look at it. Of course, if we take this a bit further, much further, we can do machine learning and AI, those things that integrate into your workflow. But don't worry too much at this stage. I'll teach you how to measure the recency. Frequency is the frequency of the customer's transactions or visit. So, i.e. the total number of transactions. Some people, they visit you very often, but the transactions very low. Some people, they can visit you once in a month, but they frequently purchase. So that's a key difference here. And lastly, of course, is monetary. The intention of customers to spend, the purchasing power of the customer. So for example, you can measure the total transaction value, or you can measure the average transaction value. Most of the time when you do the calculations, right, whether in Excel or in any sort of calculations, Malaysians, we like to calculate average for no reason. One. You think average is a magic number, okay? Average high, average income of a state. I don't know why people do that, but don't do that. Usually you look at the outliers. You look at some people, they suddenly buy very expensive item. You look at people suddenly spending on very, very cheap items. So those are the indicators that you should look at. Average number, as the name says, is the average only. Okay, on average, people spend $120 per transaction. But does it mean anything? It doesn't really tell you what is happening here. Okay, so we give you a quick demo on RFM. So if you look at, these files will be given to you, okay, at the end of the session. So you can go to my website and download. This will be your raw transactions. Your raw transaction is, let's say, these are the numbers. All right. This ID is your customer ID. Yeah, not the transaction ID. Inside your e-commerce database, you have transaction ID as well as your customer ID. So you take note of their customer ID. Now this customer ID this is real data set, but we mask it, yeah? And then you look at the date that they come, okay? 1st of January, 18 January. Then after that, 6 or 7 months later come again, and then 4 months later they come again. So this is the amount that he or she is spending. Right? You can see that, right? I'm not blocking, yeah? Okay. Feel free to stop me if you have any questions, okay? Now this is customer number 2, so come back twice, and then customer 3, 4, 5, each patronizes once, and then 6 is a very regular customer. Okay? Now this is the amount that they spend. Now first thing first is we're going to create a pivot table. Pivot table is a special tool in Microsoft Excel that helps you to calculate or aggregate the information. So once you create a pivot table, on your right-hand side, there are 3 things that you need to take note. The maximum date, the count of ID, and then the sum of spend. This one will actually directly correlates to your RFM that we are going to calculate. So maximum date is when was the last time that this person come, okay? And then the count of ID, meaning how many times he or she actually made purchase with us or from us. And then lastly is, of course, your sum of spend. Now, you might want to take note of this part. Don't make sure that you are not using the wrong metrics. You have to take the maximum date, the count of ID, and then the sum of spend. Yeah. You can try the effect because some of you, the data might behave or perform differently, but you try the difference between sum of spend and also the average spending, and then you see which one works for your use case. Any questions so far? Oh, good. Okay. Now from here, I will copy the entire information that I have calculated here to put it into another tab. This is my final tab. Okay. In final tab, I do a few things. Okay. Last purchase, this one, number of times I purchased, and then the total amount of purchase. Okay. This is clear, right? I will use a formula here to calculate the number of days that since their last purchase. All right? So it's using a formula called today minus B2. Right? Today minus B2. B2 is here. B2 is your last purchase date. Today is today's date. Yeah. So today's date minus December 12. It has been 205 days since this person made their last purchase with us. Okay? All right. Any questions? No, I'll go ahead. Let me know if I go too fast. So now, how are you going to calculate your RFM score? you have a range of numbers from 0 to 1000, 0 to 200, 300, 600, right? So here we are using this formula to calculate the quintile. The quintile, how does it work? I split into 5, yeah? It's something like a Likert rating. So you use this formula to split the entire spending of E2 to E2358. Okay? E2358 is the entire column of your day since last purchase. So I take the entire columns, I look at the range of those numbers, I split into 5 quarters. Not quarters, quarters meant to be 4. I split into 5 quintiles. Okay, meaning 5 sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The one that they come back very, very often will be given a 5. Right? This person, the last purchase is 15, and they spend so much. Oh, perfect customers. Always come back, spend a lot, so we give you a 5. 1, meaning that so long never come back already. Almost 1.5 years, close to 2 years, never purchased anything from us already. Okay? So this is how quintile works. I'll give you a formula again, but you can get it from the file later. Yeah? So basically, I look at E7, which is the number of days. I look at the entire column E, divide by 5, and then we get the numbers. So this formula will automatically categorize all the number of days into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for you. Okay? 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Next thing, what we are going to do, we are going to calculate the frequency. So same thing. You have people who buy 1 times, you have people who buy 10, 20 times, you have people who buy 16 times. So how do you categorize them? We use the same formula. Okay? So this person who come back 16 times, very short, so we give a scale of 1. You can change this number also according to your own preference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, depending on your sequence, okay? This is just an array. And same thing, we are going to do it with your monetary value. The RFM score or RFM matrix will be the combination of these 3 things. Okay, before I go back to the slides, any questions? Understand, yeah? Okay. So once you know how to calculate the RFM score already, then we'll put them into segments. Your customer segment will be the champions, whose recency score range will be 4 to 5, and then the frequency and monetary also 4 to 5. Just think a little bit, yeah? Okay. Right? Then you also have loyal customers, 2 to 5, frequency and monetary score range, 3 to 5, potential loyalists, 3 to 5, frequency and monetary score, 1 to 3. So it's about you defining this metric. This is just a reference that we commonly use, but you can always define your own because you have to tie it with the actions that you need to. Okay? Because after you have identified them, you need to see, okay, for champion, what are the things that they do? They bought recently, they buy often, and they spend the most. Yay. All right, actionable tips. You want to reward them. Can be early adopters for new products. Will be also, they will be the one that are happy to help you to promote your brand. So this is what your number is telling you. It's not based on your gut feeling. It's not based on your aga-aga. It's not based on your guess. It's all hard numbers that are telling you the facts. So you have loyal customers. They spend good money with us often, responsive to promotion. So you are able to upsell them with higher values products, okay? Because you know that they need the products. You know that they always come back to you. So let's say they buy shoes from you, okay? You can promote them. All right, you always buy jogging shoes from us. You should buy other sports items, for example. And this one will greatly increase the success rate of your marketing campaign. Yeah. So you are no longer, some of the speakers, they teach you, they show you how they teach you what are the ads, but they didn't really show you how, right? So whenever later on when you implement your Facebook ads campaign, then you have to think like, okay, how much I should spend on these people? Who are the people I should be targeting? When you want to send email, don't make the same mistake, like, blast the email to everybody, okay? Not everybody likes to buy blazers. Some people, they don't have to buy specific items. Okay, so target those people who want. And we have been talking about the good stories. There are also some of the bad ones, like hibernating. Last purchase was long back, low spenders, low number of orders. So we can offer other products and special discounts, recreate the brand value, and then you reignite or reactivate those customers so that they will come back and purchase from you more. Okay, so this is the demo I've done. Any questions? Yes.
Would you use the same strategy for profiling a product?
A product, okay. Now, next one, I'm going to the product level. That's a good question, okay? Now, come back to me if this one doesn't answer your question, all right? So next thing is product recommendation. The first part, I talk about customer segmentation. The next thing is you need to understand what are the products that you are going to recommend to them. If they buy a pair of shoes from me, what are the other things that people are also buying from you? eBay, Amazon, they did a very good job on this. So I'm going to share with you their secrets. Product recommendation is similar to an in-store sales advisor, right? If someone like me walk into a store, a boutique, they will say, okay, sir, you are wearing gray today. Have you tried other color of suit? Or you are looking for something else, you're looking for a shirt or looking for a tie. When somebody bought a tie, you should ask them to buy a bow tie or ask them to buy a pair of cufflinks, for example. This is what product recommendation is going to do for you in your e-commerce store. Product recommendation displays suggested items that are specifically relevant to each individual shopper and also according to algorithms and data collected. So there are two things that you need to calculate when we do product recommendation. Number one is the support. Support is for us to measure how popular an item set is. It's measured by the proportion of the transaction, okay, which, like, let's say in table 1, the support for Apple is the times that Apple appear over all the transaction. That's all. If you go to other workshops, they will make it into, okay, like data scientists, we have to look smart, we have to look advanced, okay? But the behind the scene, the calculation is very simple. You just take, okay, you just calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, there are 4 apples here. All right, how many transactions in total? There are 8 transactions in total. So the support for Apple is 50%, 4 over 8. Same thing, you can do it for a pair of products also. You want to calculate like, you have a feeling like people who buy apples should always buy orange, for example. You can calculate the support for apple and orange over all the transactions. Who will buy apple and beer together? No, right? When you're eating an apple, will you think, let's have a beer? No. Or when you're drinking a beer, yeah, let's have an apple. No, never do that. So for instance, the support of apple, beer, and rice is 2 out of 8, which is 25%. Now from a mathematics or the numbers point of view, you can easily see that, okay, this is a low support. So it gives you the support. By giving you the support, it's not enough to tell you that this should be the thing that you should be recommending to your customers. So we need another metric, which is the confidence. Confidence shows you that how likely item Y is purchased when item X is purchased, expressed as X to Y, measured by the proportion in which transaction of item X, which item Y also appear. Very simple. It's the support of these 2 items over the support of the single item. So you want to think like, okay, in table 1, the confidence of apple to beer. Dr. Lau says, well, I'm a doctor, okay, I wouldn't lie to you. I say, who buy apple when they buy beer? But according to the number, we calculate is, the confidence of apple beer is 3 out of 4, 75%. Yeah. So in other words, people who buy beer, they are quite health conscious. No, it's not that way. People who eat apple, sometimes they drink beer. So this is just an example. Okay, so for you to calculate. Now, when implement the product recommendations, right, including smart product recommendation as part of your user experience can increase the average orders of your conversions. If without the product recommendation, your usual conversion rate from cold leads, all right, or qualified leads, pre-qualified leads, is about 2 to 3%. But with product recommendation, sometimes it goes as high as 5.5%. This is talking from a point of view of conversion, meaning that you go to a website, they just recommended you some items based on your previous history, or based on the global history, meaning that people within the same group, they behave similarly. All right? But if we are doing this when somebody is buying some item and when they are checking out, you can gain up to 31% revenue generated from product recommendations, meaning that they buy A. You say, hey, sir, you have buy A already. Why don't you try to buy B? Chances are they are going to buy from you because purchase with purchase, right? Watson do that a lot to you. Yeah, you go to Watson, you buy a shampoo. You tell your mom you're going to buy a shampoo, and now you go home with shampoo, with body soap, with contact lens solutions, everything. Yeah. Okay? Now, as usual, I'll give you a product recommendation using Python. I wrote a little script for you. So you have to do 2 things only. Number 1, download the script that I give you. Number 2, install this thing called Python. Yeah, I don't have internet access, but just search for Python. Okay, yeah, it's a programming language tool that is available in all platforms. Whether you are Mac, you are Windows, you can download that. So after you have got that, you download my script, right? You run this program. So I will have a file called tasco.csv, which means that all your transaction is listed in the comma separated value form. So it's the example that I give you before. Apple, beer, rice, chicken, apple, beer, rice, apple, mango, milk, egg, rice, chicken. Now this one, when we teach the students, you always see is that people who buy milk, then they'll buy eggs. Like in Malaysia, in 7-Eleven, they do the same thing, right? When you buy bread, they put kaya on the side. Yeah, that's a cultural thing. So when you buy milk, usually you buy egg, and then you buy rice, you don't eat plain rice, you also buy chicken. That's the rationale behind. But you need the numbers to help you to make the decisions. Okay? So you run this command. So after you have installed the Python script, Python a priori.py -f tasco.csv, and then my script will do all the calculation for you. Okay, a bit too fast, eh? Okay, so this is the one. Yeah, Python a priori.py -f tasco.csv. That's a CSV file. Okay, so the first part is they will calculate the support for you. Yeah, all the support will be calculated. Chicken 0.24, apple, rice 0.24, rice 0.48, milk 0.52. Mango 0.2. Okay, so let's go back to see whether my code works properly or not. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 transactions. This is transactions. I have 5 transactions that purchase mango over 25 transactions. So it's 20%. So it's 0.2. Okay, the script works. Now, after you have calculated all the support, the script will help you to calculate the confidence so that it gives you the rule. So rule number 1, people who bought beer, they also buy apple and rice, 60% confidence. People who bought beer and apple, chances of they buying rice is 67%. Let's look at something that's much higher. Chicken and rice. People who bought chickens, they also buy rice, 100%. Egg, rice, and milk. People who bought egg, they also bought milk, so 100%. Okay, so these two will help you to generate what do you call that? To calculate the support and calculate the confidence, so that it will give you the necessary rules that you need. So after that, you can implement back all these findings that you have learned from the program, from the scripts, back to your product recommendation, so you can bundle them together. So now that you know people who buy apple, you can upsell them beer, for example. Okay, before we go for QA, this is the most important slide. Yeah. Okay, take note of my details. Any questions, send me an email, send me Facebook or LinkedIn message. You can download the slides from there. Myself and my team here will be more than happy to help you with. Thank you very much. Yeah. Do you have time for questions? 10 minutes. Okay, we got 10 minutes for QA. Okay, yeah? So you get the product and the customers. Yes. You pass you the mic.
Oh, sorry. It's actually the base calculation.
Base? You mean the Bayesian calculation?
Bayesian, yeah.
No, Bayesian calculation is more on the probability. This is a priori.
A priori, yeah.
This is a priori. A priori meaning that they look at your previous history, they look at the one that's before, and then they use that to make judgment on the following one. Yeah. If you want to know more about the technique, it's APRIORI, a priori. Yeah. Bayes is more for probability. Yeah. APRIORI. A priori is an Italian word. Yeah. So later on, I'll be on the main stage at what time? 4 o'clock. Yeah, the last session. I'll be talking to LWE 11 Streets and also Padang. Yeah, I'll be asking them questions about how data, big data, and analytics help you all help the e-commerce merchants. Okay, the fireside chat. Any other questions? Okay, you got my details, yeah? I'll be still in this area, so as usual, if there's any question you're too shy to ask, yeah, feel free to mingle around, and then I'll see you there.